Starting something, as easy as pressing a button, an action that's so simple compared to the rest of the journey and getting to the finish. But if you're anything like me, this might not be that simple. Usually the things that we care about, the things that we have to do, the more difficult situations that will actually in the end result in bettering ourselves, improving ourselves in some way, are normally the hardest to start. There's some sort of mental resistance in the way. Again, forget the long process of sticking to it and working towards a goal. We're talking about not being able to complete step one and start. Take running, for example, a popular activity. Now I'm going to put my hands up and say that this is something that I can't start. I suck at completely. And it's not the fact that I can't run, it's that I can't even bring myself to put on a pair of shoes, my running kit, and step outside and run. I can't even do that, let alone, do run one and put one foot in front of the other. And this project took 8 months to start. I just kept on putting it off and stopping myself. So I decided this week, whilst making this video, I wanted to find out, why is there so much mental resistance in the way of some things when it comes to making a start? Reason number one is simply that it's difficult. The thing you're about to start is difficult. And we live in the 21st century where there's a lot of infrastructure to make things simpler. For example, instead of cooking food, ordering food, instead of walking, getting an Uber. We fall down because we think about how much effort goes into something and we don't do it because of that. We know it's difficult, we know it's going to take a long time. I was recently reintroduced to a piece of writing by Julian Smith called The Flinch, where he describes not being able to start as a flinch, like a physical flinch. Say, for example, someone's going to come up to you and punch you square in the face. That flinch is exactly what we do when we don't start. So he describes it perfectly like this. So imagine right now you go into your bathroom, you turn the shower on, and you turn it the whole way to cold and wait till it's completely freezing cold. Now you get into the shower. The flinch is exactly that. No one wants to get into that cold shower. The flinch is that moment before you get in and you think, hang on a second, this is going to be incredibly cold, incredibly painful. Why am I doing this? I could just have a hot shower. So what can we do? Well, Julian says that we can just get in the shower, experience the coldness, the pain for a couple of seconds, and realise after that it goes away. He talks about building up a resilience, just forgetting about the flinch, just doing it and realising that the hardship only lasts a couple of seconds and everything's back to normal. Jumping ahead of it before it even has the chance to question what you're about to do is difficult or pointless. Just getting in. It's easier to do something else. A very true fact with a difficult task. It's much easier for me to sit in bed for an hour on my phone than work out. It's much easier for me to sit and watch Netflix instead of filming a video. During the moment where we flinch, our mind tempts us with easier and alternative things to do. With time, this reaction just becomes automatic, a habit. Instead of doing the difficult thing, we do the easy thing. Let's try and use some good habits to try and remove some bad habits. So what I'm proposing and I've seen is that you take something that you do every day, for example, your morning routine. You get up, you have a shower, you brush your teeth, you make some coffee. Now, you could bolt on the end of that or the beginning of that or in the middle of that, something difficult that you want to do and you want to start. And because your mind is in a state of flow and it's just doing things, you're going to think less about it. It's just going to happen. Right now, I'm doing that exactly. I've bolted this on to the end of my morning routine. Another reason is we're scared of failing. We're only human. We don't want to feel like a failure. It's not a nice feeling. The only way to not fail is to not start. That's the easiest way. You can't be a sweaty mess on the floor if you haven't attempted to run in the first place. And when the flinch occurs, It's that little voice at the back of our head that's telling us, remember what happened last time. And again, with habit, every time it comes up and every time we think we're going to fail, we know the best thing to do is not start. I'm not one for inspirational quotes, but I once heard Seth Godin say, if you set your bar at amazing, it's awfully difficult to start. We're awfully good at comparing ourselves to others when it comes to anything. So when we're creating, when we're looking to do something, we're going to compare ourselves to others. And because of that, we're going to be looking at step 100 instead of step 1. So I think it's a good practice to appreciate that step 1 is just step 1. It's not step 100. Set your bar a little bit lower, your expectations lower, and you know what? You even might impress yourself. And I don't think that means setting the bar so low that nothing is achieved. Quite the contrary, I think we're achieving something more than we did before by actually starting. We hadn't started, but now we have. We fear what other people think. Think about the last time you carried out something so basic like posting a picture on Instagram or Facebook. You probably thought for a very, very, very long time about posting it because of other people. That's fact. That happens to everyone. There's reasons for that. It's human nature. It goes right back to that time in year 10 when you sang James Blunt in front of the whole year and everyone laughed. Just me then. Now, I've read why this happens and it makes sense to me, which is that we are social creatures. We used to live in tribes and being together was the only way to survive. So of course we want to build relationships and friendships. Now how do we do that? Well, we have to get on, we have to get people to like us, be in their good books. A two-way street, however, but that means that we need to think about all the actions that we make to make sure that we can maintain these relationships and friendships. Being very honest, I haven't found a solution that works for me. My ability to now start comes from being able to get over the other 4 things. I haven't really solved this one, and yes, I am very conscious and very scared every time I post a video, I make it. Sometimes it really does stop me. However, as support grows for what I'm doing from friends and family, it's sort of like the cold shower. I go in once, I go in twice, 3 times, and every time it gets easier. The last reason is that the goal is out of reach. We live in the 21st century where everything is instant and expected to be instant. If I wanted to know what my mum and dad had been up to this weekend, I wouldn't have to send a letter and wait. I could call them or text them and get an instant reply. With that in mind, when we attempt to do something difficult, we realise before we even start that what we're trying to achieve is actually a lot of work and somewhat in the future, so we don't start. I've read a lot and looked scientifically at why this is, but when I was sitting down to write this, I thought of something myself. I'm no expert, but the quote that came to mind is "practice makes perfect." And yes, probably my mother was the first person to say that to me as she listened to me playing trumpet awfully all night, 5 nights a week. As cheesy as it might sound, I thought about it for a while. Practice makes perfect, practice makes perfect. And I realised that I had lost the ability to love the journey, the process that I was going on. I just wanted to go from nothing to the end goal with nothing in the way. I wanted it to be instant like everything else was. And yes, practice makes perfect. And thinking about it and pondering on it, I can't wait to look back on this video probably a day after it comes out and think, I wish I did that better. And I wish I did this and I did this, and put that into practice and do that over and over again. And I can't wait for 2 years down the line when I look back over this video and think, my God, what am I rambling on about? I was incorrect, I was wrong, that shot's out of focus, it looks horrible, and cringe and wince at it. And I can't wait, because I know that means I've progressed. I've been enjoying the process and I've been doing it and I've started. Of course, of everything I'm going to put out, there's a number of books, papers, videos, other people's interviews and talks behind it. So I'll pop those all in the description below instead of boring you with them. Again, I'm no expert, I'm just picking up on things that I've read and researched to help myself and hopefully help others. But thank you for watching and listening to my ramblings.